Hi there, everyone. Welcome again to Indian Story Read Along. Today's story is from Tinkle Summer Special from 2003. And as you know, Tinkle does all kinds of stories from all over the world, and they are all different types of folk tales. Some of them have animals that talk, like this one, and some of them have all kinds of magic going on. So this story is from Ireland. You see that there it says a Celtic folktale. It's called Jack and His Friends. Script by Reena I. Puri and illustrations by Arjit Datta Chaudhary. Once there was a poor widow who had one son. It is a scarce summer, Jack. Scarce means really dry and when there's not enough food for people. The larder, a larder was an old-timey kind of fridge or a cupboard where they kept their food. The larder is bare and I don't know how we'll live till the new potatoes are fit for eating. Jack knew how worried his mother was. He says, "Mother, bake me a pie and a loaf of bread. I will go to seek my fortune." So Jack's mother put together all that she had and baked him a meal. And he says, "Bless me, mother, your blessings are more precious than all the gold in the world." And then she says, "1,000 blessings, my son. Come back, for you are my only comfort." Jack went along till he reached a bog. And he sees this donkey there. "Help me, Jack." I wonder how he knows his name, but he says, "Help me, Jack, or I'll be drowned." And then Jack runs along and he says to the donkey, "You don't have to ask twice, Nettie. I'll pitch in some stones and mud and you'll soon be out." Nettie, the donkey, was soon on dry land. "Thank you, Jack. Where are you going?" And Jack says, "To seek my fortune till the harvest comes." Nettie says, "I'll go along with you if you like." And Jack says, "You are welcome to." As they pass through a village, they see this little doggy going, "Yelp, yelp, yelp, yelp." And these mean boys are throwing things at it, clunk, clunk, like pots and pans and things. Then Nettie gets angry and he says, "Don't touch him or I'll kick you little ruffians into the sky." The naughty boys took to their heels. "Thank you so very much," said the little doggy. "Where are the two of you going?" Jack says, "To seek our fortune till harvest comes." And Coley, the dog, decided to join them rather than stay with the rude children. Outside the village, they had just sat down to a meal when, meow! Jack says, "That yowl made my heart ache, Tom. You look starved." And that was Tom the cat. And then Jack says, "Here's a little meal for you." And Tom says, "May your children never know hunger, Jack." Needless to say, Tom the cat joined them in their journey. As the sun began to set, all they hear is this little cackle, 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 cackle. And Jack says, "It's Reynard the fox, and he has caught a rooster. At him, Coley." And Coley goes, "Woof." Reynard the fox dropped the rooster and ran for his life. "Close, that was close. Can I stay with you all? For then I'll feel safer." And then Jack says, "You may, Red Rooster." And so they all marched on. Jack says, "There's no cabin or farm where we could find a bed. We'll sleep in the woods on the tall grass." They were soon fast asleep until cock-a-doodle-doo. Jack says, "What's the matter with you, Red Rooster? It's midnight." And then Red Rooster says, No, it's daybreak. See that light?" And then Jack says, "That's candlelight. Well, now that we are awake, let us go and ask for lodging." But what did they find when they're out there by the window? They all went down to the house where the candle was burning. "Shh," says Jack. "These don't look and sound like honest folk." And then the donkey says, "They have blunderbusses and cutlasses." A blunderbuss was an old-timey kind of gun, and a cutlass was a type of sword. And then one of these guys, these robber-type guys, was saying, "That was a fine loot we got at Lord Dunlavin's." That means they just robbed the house of some guy named Lord Dunlavin. The other guy says, "Yes, but if it weren't for that helpful watchman, we wouldn't have got much. Robbers, all of them. We have to get them out. And all the animals say, aye, aye, Jack. And so he pretends that he's some kind of army commander or something. He goes, level your pistols, present fire. And then all the animals go crashing through the window. And then the robbers don't even stop and look who it is. They just hear the crash and they run. It's the Lord's men. Run for your lives. The robbers fled for their lives. After a hearty meal, Jack and his friends settled down for the night. The next morning, Jack says, we must go to Dunlaven Castle and return all this loot. The donkey says, quite right, Jack. So they made their way after breakfast to the castle. And who should they meet at the gate but the thief of a watchman? Oh, this guy's the inside man. So remember the previous page? The one robber said, oh, we wouldn't have gotten that much loot if it wasn't for the watchman. This is the guy who allowed them in and watched out as they stole everything. The watchman says, what do you want here? There isn't room for you all. And Jack says, what we want and what you cannot give is some good manners. Watchman says, be off with you or I'll set the dogs on you. And then the rooster says, would you tell us who was it that opened the door for the thieves last night? And then they hear a voice from up top. Can you answer the gentleman with the red comb, Barney? He doesn't even realize he's a rooster. A red comb. And then Barney the watchman says, oh, Jack is, who's that? It was Lord Dunlaven and his pretty daughter. The watchman says, don't believe this rascal, my lord. I did not open the door to the 6 robbers. Oops. And how did you know there were 6? Says Lord Dunlaven. Jack says, don't worry, sir. All your gold and silver is in these sacks. Could you give us a bit of supper and a place to rest for the night? Then Lord Dunlaven is so pleased. He says, why, my good man, all of you will have food to eat and a place to rest for the rest of your lives. And so Neddy, the donkey, Coley, the dog, and Red Rooster got the best places in the farmyard. And Tom got a warm place in the kitchen. As for Jack, he brought his mother and settled her near the castle. And he got a job too. He says, I am Lord Dunlaven's steward, mother. I did find my fortune after all. And then Mom says, with my blessings, you couldn't have missed it, son. The end. What a cute little story. I like this one. It's interesting that it's all the way from Ireland, but it's in an Indian comic book. I thought that was always so cool about Tinkle. Anyway, if you like this story, then think about subscribing to this channel. And please do join us next time for another story on Indian Story Read Along.